Hi guys, David here, Yoga for DNA, and I have a uh, student of mine. We've been doing yoga about 6 months now, and uh, we're going to be offering a course in a few months. It's the Aquarian series, and why are we doing the Aquarian series? Because it needs to be done. The world has changed quickly in the last year and a half, and yogically, we call it cold depression. Epidemic right now. People's nervous systems have been blasted out from COVID. And it's not necessarily from the virus, it's just the structures of how we live. Everything's changed. And it's, life's going to be altered forever. So I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you've had a little more stress lately. Well, there's a reason for that. And the first module we're doing is a reset. So we're going to strengthen the nervous system, strengthen the immune system. And it's, life is going to take, not that 2019 was relaxing, but it's going to take more, nutrition, self-care. So that's why we're doing this, is to bring awareness to an area of your life that you may not have awareness. I talk to a lot of people, they're just stressed out in a way they never have been before. And you see it everywhere. The person at the grocery store that's losing their mind, and they probably wouldn't have in 2019, but they are, because they have too much stimulation. The external demands out here in life have exceeded the capacity of this to manage all that. And so Vince has led transformational programs for many years. And, we've been talking for months and months and months. And we've just found that there's just a lot of places in life that people could use support, and that's really what this course is about. It's a reset. It's 40 days. Yes, it's going to take that long, and it's going to be on the mat. It's going to be in dialogue. So Vince, do you have anything you'd like to comment about? I know you do. So
when you said 40 days, yes, it'll take 40 days. My first thought was I could remember a me when, if somebody said 40 days, I would have thought that was a really long time. And now 40 days is like, oh, that's sweet. That's a nice little beginning. And is probably just sufficient enough time to begin to have a practice, like to begin to, like this thing's it's just starting to make some sense. I'm starting to have a relationship to this thing called yoga and my nervous system and myself. So on one hand, yeah, 40 days is 40 days. On the other hand, it's really quite brief and elegant.
I know what, so I found Kundalini yoga over 4 years ago. I got divorced, and my nervous system, I didn't realize how shot it was. Any little thing would just throw me off. I was severely anxious, depressed. I was having panic attacks that would send me to the hospital. So, 40 days is a good start, and it hopefully, will give you that opening to continue. I got the bug for it. It was unexpected. I ended up in a Kundalini yoga class. I went into the wrong room. So, but it worked out. I became a teacher, and I'm just passionate about the results that I got out of Kundalini yoga. What is it? Well, it's not a religion. It's not a movement. It's not a thing. It is a science. It is a studied science. There's tons of literature on the effects of, working the glandular system, creating those new fluids in the body, the glandular secretions. It does have an effect on the body. So, we're going to be getting into, the mechanics and the science of the yoga. And that's what will, allow you to make those changes, is really getting grounded in what we are doing, instead of wondering, how is this working? Because we can tell you how it's working. It's not a mystery. In fact, my business partner, who unfortunately got cancer, when I was qualifying, through Kundalini Research Institute, he handed me, he handed me one of the things they gave him to do. It was, we actually did that meditation today, the immune booster meditation. He's like, what do you think of this? I said, I'm teaching this tomorrow. And so I thought that was very interesting. You know, Mayo Clinic's giving out, there's other meditations that are been used for years that people didn't even know were Kundalini yoga for treating Alzheimer's patients. Kirtan Kriya was one that we'll be doing for settling the nervous system. So, Vince, I might embarrass him here a little bit, but when he started with me, I wish I had a picture. And not that he really needed it. He's a very astute student in transformational education and technology, but you can see a change in a person's being or their ontology, how they be. I don't know if you can see. You're definitely more calm, more ground. Look at him sitting there. I don't think he could have sat still for more than 2 minutes before.
Yeah, it was two things kind of arose for me when you were talking. One was the science of it and the real physical effect of it. I think you and I were talking yesterday, the day before, that I've got to go change the oil in my car and the fluids in my car. And I know it's critical to do, and most of the time I forget to do it. And I have a sticker on my window that reminds me I've got to go do it every so many miles. And I know not to change the oil and the fluids in my car has a real negative effect on my car. But I had never thought about cycling the fluids of my body, or that my body needed to do that. And if somebody said, hey, go change the fluids in your body, I would have been like, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. And
here's the difference though. My grandparents would buy cars and they would do nothing and they would blow up. And guess what?
Yeah.
They would buy a new one. You can't do that with your body.
You can't do it. And nobody, I've never even heard the conversation, moving fluids, all that you've taught in Kundalini yoga. It's like everybody should not just know how to change the fluids in their body, but have a practice for doing it. And part of what was really great about it was, when I leave Jiffy Lube or whatever it is, the place where I go to get my fluids changed in my car, I feel really accomplished about having done that. Like, I took really good care of my car. And no
one's putting a sticker on your forehead for the next glandular fluid change.
Yeah. Every morning when I do Kundalini yoga, I have the experience like, oh, I'm actually really caring for the machinery that walks me around and gives me the opportunity to experience being alive and thinking and the emotions of it all. And before, I don't know, I didn't take care of the car.
We're elevating. And that is part of Kundalini yoga. So we elevate ourselves and we become more aware of things, and we start to see things that we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So in my blind spot, the horses running with the, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But those needs they didn't disappear. They were still there.
Yeah.
So
like this morning when you asked, you said, how are your adrenals? How are your kidneys? And I could actually answer the question probably for the first time in my life. I'm like, oh, let me check. But I'm beginning to have a relationship with the organs of my body. I can tell when they're in alignment. I can tell when they're tended to and cared for. And I'm beginning to have like an experience of when things are well cared for and not. My very dear friend of mine is a kind of he's actually a world-renowned 5 elements acupuncturist, and he can tell when his organ systems are off or out of alignment and what he needs to do with it, supplement regimes and his Tai Chi and his Qigong. He's so intimately related to and connected to his body. It's remarkable. And I'm beginning to get a relationship to my body, the organs, the organ systems, how they communicate, the effect on my experience of being alive and my emotions and my thinking. And if you had confronted me with all of that 6 months ago and said, here's what I'm going to teach you, I would have been like, oh, it's just way too much. Like, no, can we
It
just,
is. It's
you
spaghetti
know,
on the wall.
can I just meet you tomorrow morning and do yoga with you? And you were like, yeah, that it was simple enough to, let's just practice together. And it was, you know, I think we had the intent. I don't know that we had an intention to even practice a week together when we started. We're like, let's just get up and practice together. That sounds like fun. And we've been
Well,
having fun for like 6 months.
it was during the lockdown and nothing was open. So, I'm sitting here in Arizona, you're in California. I'm like, it works
Yeah,
in Zoom. Here's
it's
here's the thing.
actually it's
Yeah,
actually as if we're sitting in the same room. You're in my bedroom right now. I'm in your living room, but you're in my bedroom hanging out with me. It's not too unlike we're together at this point.
and I had training in, the 10 bodies of Kundalini yoga. One is the subtle body energy, and you connect through the subtle bodies on Zoom. So that's it. It
Hmm.
just raised my subtle body energy. Uh, would I have ever have done that? I don't know. Probably not. But what I found, and what I found with other students is, and I had concerns about it, is the effect of this yoga remote. Is it going to be less? And no, in some ways
No.
it works better on certain things. Like I said, strengthening the subtle body energy, which, if you lost your eyesight, your hearing would become a lot better. Your touch would be more, uh, in like, or I can't think of one. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But
But I do other things on Zoom in which the experience isn't like a shared experience. It's very clear that there's somebody on a Zoom camera somewhere else, and I'm in my Zoom camera here, and we're not really connected. We're communicating something, addressing something, dealing with something, but it's not like you and I are here now together. And
um,
even and you and I are here talking, and we're also clear that there's an audience for what we're saying. Like, we're talking to each other, but we're also talking as if people are listening or going to listen, and it's very real. It's not.
yeah.
It's this is as real a conversation as if you were here and there was a camera videotaping us sitting together. It's a pretty remarkable phenomenon when you come together for something like yoga over
Well,
Zoom, how
I
well it
mean,
translates.
this how I don't know that this is the answer, but I think it's different. This is the
It's
yoga of
probably not.
awareness. It's no, I think it could be. It's the yoga of awareness. So when you go
Mm,
to a Zoom meeting for whatever it is, it's just there's not much. There, you might be
mm,
getting information, but
yeah.
it's an active process to raise our awareness. The Kundalini energy, raises. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to raise
Mm,
your awareness of things. So the benefits the top benefits that I got, how I eat. I really, I mean, yeah, everybody talks about, eat less and eat more vegetables, but I didn't understand why. And
mm,
so my diet just cleaned up. It's no effort anymore because I know what I'm eating impacts my meditation. So when you're really doing Kundalini yoga, you want that deep meditative experience. So when you're eating meat, uh, you get uric acid, and you get other things too. But
mm,
from a meditative process, the uric acid is stimulating the nervous system. You cannot get into deep meditation eating a lot of meat.
mm,
How I speak has changed. I used to speak from here a lot, and my voice sounds different even to myself. Now I speak from my navel point, which is something we're going to be working a lot of. And that's the navel point is this is where we deal with the world, not here. We think it's from the head. So the navel point gives you how the world occurs. So if you're feeling a lot of stress, you probably have a weak navel point because you have two people looking at the same thing. Somebody with a strong navel who's been working on in Kundalini yoga, very different. I noticed that it took a while, but after one day I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Um, Not that I set out to stop drinking, but it doesn't work with meditation. So I'll say it this way. The high I get from meditating far exceeds alcohol. And I'm so cleaned out now. If I had any, I would get ill anyway. So, and what you wear, I used to only wear black. You know, there's a science to the color. Why do I have this thing on my head? The slight pressure of the cloth on my head actually relaxes the body. That is a sign. So if you're stressed out, cover your head. If you're having trouble thinking during the day, cover your head and see what happens.
Mm.
Natural fibers. If you're wearing a lot of synthetics, you know, your body is full of electricity. It's like putting insulation on. You want to keep that energy flowing. So anyway, I do invite you to, you know, if you're interested, DM me, DM Vince. We're going to be taking a limited amount of students. It is going to be a deep journey, and it will be transformational. You will not be the same. You can't be. And we will have information soon. We're working on it now, and you know, let me know. It's going to be a really good ride. Vince, any last words?
No, just thank you again, Guru Dave.
All right, we'll see you there.